This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. He admitted to killing 2 First Nation women nearly 14 years ago. Now he's being released from prison and will soon be back in the community. Sean Lamb has served 2/3 of his 20-year sentence and today became eligible for statutory release. For his victims' families, it's reopening old wounds and trauma and causing outrage among advocates. Tonight, we hear from them. CBC's Josh Crabb.
A rally at Main and Broadway in response to a killer's statutory release from prison brought rush hour traffic to a standstill. Paige Papanikis' sister, Lorna Blacksmith, is one of the women killed by Sean Lamb.
And he's out on the streets. That's not acceptable.
The now 66-year-old was originally charged with 3 counts of second-degree murder in the deaths of 25-year-old Carolyn Sinclair, Blacksmith, and 31-year-old Tanya Nepinak. Lamb admitted to manslaughter in the deaths of Sinclair and Blacksmith as part of a plea deal, but has denied killing Nepinak. News of his release also came as a shock to Nepinak's daughter, Jasmine Mann.
I think when I first found out, I didn't know how to process it. I was angry and I was scared.
Nepinak's remains are believed to be in the Brady Road landfill but have never been found. An initial search by police was unsuccessful, but the province is planning another one which will include looking for Nepinak. Premier Wab Kinew says Lamb's release is not justice and plans to raise a number of issues with the Prime Minister.
How does this help foster a feeling that our justice system actually delivers justice?
Lamb pleaded guilty to the reduced charges 12 years ago Thursday and was given a 20-year sentence. The law requires offenders who have served 2/3 of a fixed-length sentence to be given what's called a statutory release. Lamb can't do drugs or drink alcohol and must report any relationships. He was denied a request to live in transitional housing and must stay at a halfway house or psychiatric facility for 6 months because the parole board says without that condition, he will present an undue risk to society.
So the families are hurt. They're upset.
Advocate Melissa Robinson says families weren't notified about Lamb's release. They had to register to find out, but Robinson says they had enough to deal with after losing a loved one.
At the time when you're in those emotions and carrying all that grief and that sadness, that's going to be the last thing from your mind.
The Correctional Service of Canada doesn't get victim information from the police, courts, provinces, or territories. When families sign up to get notifications about an offender, they can choose which details to receive. Josh Crabb, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Leaders from Bloodvein First Nation say they aren't backing down from their goal of keeping licensed hunters out of the community as the case is heard in court. The lawyers argued that a check stop isn't preventing licensed hunters from accessing public lands. They say hunters can still fly in to the hunting grounds. The First Nation asked a judge to dismiss an application by the Manitoba Wildlife Federation to end the check stop. Lawyers representing the province say they wouldn't take a stance on whether or not to grant an injunction, but say they prefer to move forward with discussions with Bloodvein. The judge expects to deliver a decision on November 27th. Her 10-year-old son was hit by a car while at a crosswalk. Now, this Winnipeg mom says there needs to be safety changes so it doesn't happen to someone else. Jacob Adams was on his bike when a car made a left turn and struck him. Today, advocates rallied at the intersection it happened and are standing by to support the family. CBC's Mike Arsenault was there.
There are dozens of people here at the corner of Brandon and Osborne for a rally in support of 10-year-old Jacob Adams. People here have signs saying things like "Stop hitting kids with cars" and "Whose kid is next?" And they're all hoping to see this corner made safer for pedestrians and cyclists. Jacob's mother, Crystal Adams, says she got a call that morning from the school telling her what happened.
So a bystander contacted the school who called me. I had just gotten home from a night shift, so I was then back on my way to the city to meet them at the hospital.
Adams says her son needed 7 stitches. Now he's waiting for dental surgery to fix some of the chipped teeth.
It's pretty heartbreaking. I mean, I was grateful. It could have been a lot worse, but still no one wants to see their kid like that.
Recently released data from MPI says 37 children have been struck by Manitoba drivers in 2025, with 9 in September alone. Cycling and pedestrian advocate Anna Weir heard about the collision and helped organize the rally. She's calling for changes to protect pedestrians from collisions.
Safe cycling and pedestrian infrastructure in Winnipeg is really important. You know, there's lots of things that the city can be doing to improve safety of infrastructure for pedestrians and cyclists and other vulnerable road users.
Weir says lowering the speed limit or installing a left turn signal are just a couple of measures the city could take. The Winnipeg Police Service told CBC no criminal charges were laid. Adams says drivers need to be more aware of pedestrians.
It's a mistake, and I understand that. It's not that I think it's criminal, but I do think drivers have to proceed with caution. The onus is on them.
Rally supporters say this corner is dangerous, and Jacob isn't the only one who's been hit by a car at this corner. Now, the rally seems to have got the city's attention. They told CBC in an email that they plan to install a pedestrian leading interval at this corner by the end of the week to give pedestrians a 5-second head start. They're also looking at other options to make the corner safer. Mike Arsenault, CBC News, Winnipeg.
The City of Winnipeg plans to raise your property taxes by 3.5% next year. Mayor Scott Gillingham says this returns the hike to what it was in 2023 and 2024 during his first 2 budgets in the position. This will bring in about another $28 million for the city. The property tax hike this year was higher. It was almost 6%. The increase is part of a budget that will be made public on Friday afternoon. The Manitoba government created a new award this year to recognize those who've served our country with distinction. The Circle of Honor was presented today for the first time to 3 recipients. Former sailor First Class Justin Woodcock, who now helps Indigenous veterans. Lieutenant Colonel Kim Wilton, who this spring flew wildfire evacuees to safety. And Second World War veteran Gunner Leonard Van Roon. The 103-year-old said he appreciates the award, but he doesn't view what he did as remarkable.
But you were given a job to do, let's put it that way, so that's what we did. You know, nothing fancy about it. You were given a job to do.
Van Roon landed on Juno Beach in the first wave of D-Day in 1944. His regiment saw action in France, Belgium, the Netherlands, and Germany. Dozens of neglected birds have been taken from a Winnipeg home. Animal Services seized more than 70 birds, some of which were dead, dying, or in poor health. Some had been neglected and starved for weeks, if not longer. Dr. Jonas Watson and his team are caring for the animals. He says this appears to be a case of animal hoarding, where someone took on more than they could handle. Watson says when the city ignored putting in restrictions around exotic animals, when it redid its pet ownership bylaws, and now there are no rules stopping this.
At the very least, there should be restrictions on the numbers of birds and other exotic animals that can be kept in a single home. This one had upwards of 80 birds. That is far too many birds for any one person to look after. And so we need to have restrictions on numbers, much in the same way that we have restrictions on numbers of dogs and cats that can be kept in the city.
Winnipeg police were called to the home for a medical call. They say the homeowner has now deceased. Watson says 45 birds survived the night, ranging from budgies to cockatiels. Some people on William Avenue have been forced out of their homes after a fire in a vacant house. That fire started just after 11:30 last night. Fire crews remained at the scene until late this morning, watching for hot spots. The fire also prompted temporary road closures in the area. The city says it will assess whether the house will be torn down. No injuries were reported. The building is considered a complete loss with extensive smoke, fire, and water damage. It had also sustained damage from 3 fires between August and October. And Riley is in now. Riley, you and I were talking about the Grey Cup Festival that's happening just outside our doors here. A little loud, but lots of people that are already taking the festivities in, and a beautiful day to do so.
Yeah, beautiful day today, Brittany. An even better day tomorrow if you've got outdoor plans, and then things kind of come crashing down. However, it's a totally different story in parts of northern Manitoba, and that's where I'm starting tonight, is with a snowfall warning that's in place for the far northern part of our province, really from Churchill right across to Lynn Lake, to Dooley Lake, into Brochet. This is because of an incoming area of low pressure that looks to bring 10 to 20 centimeters of snow locally, though up to 25 centimeters. You can start to see the leading edge of some of that cloud cover from that low starting to push into northern Manitoba. We've started to get some of the cloud cover into the south. However, I think we do stay under a partly cloudy sky for most of southern Manitoba through the overnight hours tonight. Essentially, what's happening here is this low is taking a track along the jet stream, the river of air high up in the atmosphere, and that's tracking it right into northern Manitoba. The rest of us under this ridge in the jet stream, which will lead to another day of above seasonal temperatures into Friday. So temperatures overnight around the freezing mark, looking at a mostly sunny sky, partly cloudy in the morning, and then more of a mix of sun and cloud. A slim chance of some showers late afternoon, Brittany, but look at this, a high of 11 degrees.
Whew, all right. Thanks, Riley.
You're welcome.
The owner of a privately owned rail port is questioning why the province gave its competitor millions of dollars to get its business up and running. More on that ahead. The owner of a private rail port in southern Manitoba wants to know why the province provided an $18 million grant to help start a rival business. CBC's Bartley Kivas reports on more fallout from the last-minute pre-election provision from the former PC government.
This is Mid-Canada Transload Service, 2 grain elevators on 5 kilometers of private track, allowing flax, oats, soybeans, and other Manitoba commodities to travel by rail to ports on the Atlantic and Pacific coasts and the Gulf of Mexico.
We're enabling Manitoba products to end up in a lot of different countries around the world.
9 years ago, this was a grain field. But the proximity of Highway 75 and the L'Atelier-CN subdivision rail line made this an ideal location for a transloading business. Réal Tétrault, a former banker and farmer, started up this business with entirely private money. He says he was flabbergasted to learn this summer Manitoba's former PC government provided an $18 million grant right before the 2023 provincial election to buy land and conduct studies for a rail port planned for the RM of Rechot.
I couldn't believe that the government of the day would put an outright grant to start up a company to compete against us.
The grant is for a project called the Winnipeg Region Rail Port. A company called John Q. Public, owned by 11 Manitoba municipalities, wants to ship products and assemble trains on the Rechot land. John Q. hopes to land Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railway as an anchor tenant. That could allow BNSF to leave its existing yard in Winnipeg's River Heights neighborhood. Transportation expert Barry Prentice says this would give the U.S. Rail Company more room.
For the BN to continue to service Winnipeg and be interested here, a better facility would certainly help that.
John Q. Public says on its website it also wants to lure other businesses out of Winnipeg. That could place it in competition with Centerport or Mid-Canada. Barry Prentice says he doesn't believe a rail port in Rechot means the end of one in Montcalm.
Yes, there could be more competition. Yes, they might lose some traffic, but I don't think this is a death knell for them.
Still, Manitoba's NDP government is reviewing the grant made by its PC predecessor and wants to know the effect the proposed new rail port would have on existing businesses. John Q. Public declined to comment. Réal Tétrault says he doesn't believe they should have received any public funds.
Government should stay in where government belongs. Social programs, infrastructure, new highways, healthcare, education, that's where government should be. You know, and we pay tax dollars so they can do that, not to start up a business from nothing and compete against us. That's not government's job.
The Winnipeg Region Rail Port remains in its planning phase. BNSF hasn't commented. Bartley Kivas, CBC News, in the arm of Montcalm.
A public town hall in Pipestone saw residents raise concerns about a carbon capture facility that could be moving into the area. People say they need to know more about the Deep Sky facility and how it could impact the environment and culture of the community. CBC's Chelsea Kemp was there.
Looking to learn more about a potential carbon capture facility being built in southwestern Manitoba, nearly 200 people packed Pipestone's community hall Wednesday. Kim McKenzie helped organize the meeting. She says residents need more information about the project planned by the Montreal-based company Deep Sky.
I'm worried that we're in a nice rural area. We like our lifestyle. How could it change? We don't live in an industrial area because we like living here.
The startup plans to build a $200 million Manitoba plant that would remove 30,000 tons of carbon dioxide directly from the air each year. At the meeting, people raised concerns about what the project means for water use, noise levels, and the local environment. Others questioned whether such a large industrial project would fit in the agricultural community. Deep Sky CEO Alex Petra wasn't there, but says the company's goal is to help fight climate change. She says they're sharing as much as they can with the community as the project takes shape.
From our perspective, we have offered a lot of time, resources, but I'm not sure this is yet a two-way conversation, so we would love to make it a two-way conversation.
Climate Action Team's James Wilt says direct air capture remains unproven at a large scale and is extremely energy intensive.
Yeah, well, we're here to support what a lot of the community has already said, which is that this is not sort of the place for a direct air capture facility, and there's a lot of different reasons for that.
Meanwhile, Keely Woods says the town hall shows her community is watching what happens and aren't afraid to speak up.
If it doesn't feel right, ask questions, be critical thinkers. Your opinion does matter, and don't just assume that it doesn't.
RM of Two Borders told CBC it's still waiting to find out more about the project. The RM of Pipestone says right now it has no agreement or partnership with Deep Sky. Deep Sky anticipates construction possibly starting next year. Chelsea Kemp, CBC News, Pipestone.
All right, Riley, back in now. Riley, I feel like along with the weather, everybody keeps asking you, am I going to see the auroras? Am I going to see the northern lights? Is it going to be clear? Some really amazing light shows over the past 2 days.
Exactly. There is a chance that we see them tonight. The solar energy not as strong as it has been the last couple of nights, Brittany, but there is the chance if you get into an area that's dark with clear skies tonight. I'm going to start with some of the pictures from last night, and the first one you're going to see here is actually from my mom, who took this at the farm last night. And I'm just going to step out of the way because these pictures are too good to just stand in front of. So here we go. A couple more from Winnipeg, and I have a couple more here from outside the city. One that was taken at Cooks Creek and another from Cranberry Portage in northern Manitoba. I always love seeing your corner of Manitoba anytime, no matter what it looks like, to talk back at cbc.ca. So we have started to see a little bit of cloud cover start to build into parts of western Manitoba, as you saw on satellite and radar earlier. And that's all connected to this next series of lows that start to push into the province as we get into the day on Friday. So what you'll see through the overnight hours is the warm front that first pushes through. This does introduce a little bit of cloud cover through central parts of the province into the Interlake as well as we get through the night. But more importantly, it does introduce a risk of some freezing rain into parts of northern Manitoba as we get early morning. So around Thompson, Norway House, that risk of freezing rain as this warm front pushes through. I think even in Flin Flon, there is a risk of that happening first thing in the morning. But on the north side of this, this is mainly a snow event for places like Lynn Lake, Brochet, Thompson to the Hudson Bay coast as we get through the day tomorrow. So we are looking at an accumulating snow. So that combined with this risk of freezing rain, if you have travel plans in northern Manitoba at any time between now and Saturday, really keep an eye on the weather conditions as the system begins to push into the province here. The cold front in behind this could trigger a few showers in the south as we get through into the evening hours tomorrow. Fairly slim chance, but nonetheless, I have put it into the forecast that risk mainly into northwestern Ontario as that front passes into Saturday. Then we get some clearing. Still a bit breezy in behind this, and temperatures that are much, much closer to seasonal as we get Saturday and into Sunday. So what this is translating into is an area of snow upwards of 20 centimeters in some places. Dooley Lake even could get into that high 20s as we get through the next couple of days here. So this is an accumulating snow for parts of northern Manitoba. Thompson, I'm thinking in that 2 to 5 centimeter range as we get through the next couple of days here. Okay, temperatures first thing in the morning. We'll actually hit our highs in Winnipeg closer to the lunch hour or so tomorrow. So starting around 2 degrees, 6 in Dauphin. This is before that warm front pushes through, -1 in Thompson. We'll try for 11 tomorrow afternoon and then a 1 degree high. So really stark difference, Brittany, as we get into Saturday and Sunday with everything that's happening this weekend. We'll talk more in detail about this later on, and temperatures close to the freezing mark into next week.
Thank you, Riley.
You're welcome.
And here's a look at some of the festivities already underway for the Grey Cup here in Winnipeg. We have much more ahead right after this. Stay with us.
is Manitoba. And this is Manitoba on your smart TV, because CBC News is now streaming local. Local news and weather on your connected TV or favorite device. CBC News Manitoba, streaming now.
Prime Minister Mark Carney has announced the Liberal government's latest set of major projects being recommended for fast-tracking. This is a key component of the federal plan to spur major economic growth. Kate McKenna has the details from Ottawa.
At a BC hydro facility, Prime Minister Mark Carney announced a new set of projects he says will make Canada more independent, sustainable, and prosperous.
They're here to reinforce our nation. They are part of nation-building strategies to transform our economies.
Being added to the list is supposed to boost private investment and cut through red tape to get projects built faster.
For many of our projects, they've been in development for quite a while, and there's a lot of work as you get to the end of the line, and you need to pull things over.
Of the new projects on the list, 2 are in British Columbia, the North Coast Transmission Line and Silism's LNG, and 3 critical mineral mines, Canada Nickel's Crawford project in Ontario, the Nouveau Monde graphite mine in Quebec, and the Sisson mine in New Brunswick, as well a hydro project in Iqaluit.
Our job is all about making sure that people get across the line, get everything they need to get built on time and on budget, and ensure that Canadians have competitive mines, competitive pipelines, competitive LNG facilities.
All of this is part of a push to reorient the Canadian economy amid trade turmoil with the United States.
We're in a situation, because of all these changes in the world, that many of our historic strengths, based on close ties with the United States, have become our vulnerabilities.
For years, industry has warned getting things built takes too long. Canada's major project strategy is trying to address that.
We kind of had a lost decade where we really weren't focusing on the economy. So I think the government is headed in the right direction, but we need to be even bolder, I think.
There's nothing on the list for Alberta. The province has been pushing for a pipeline. Premier Danielle Smith says she's in negotiations with her federal counterparts to hammer out some sort of deal. Kate McKenna, CBC News, Ottawa.
Now, one missing from the new list of nation-building projects being fast-tracked, the Port of Churchill. But Manitoba Premier Wap Kinew doesn't seem fazed.
Well, we are already working with the Major Projects Office, which is what these other projects in the news are being referred to. So I guess we're ahead of them in terms of a line or a list. I can share that for a number of weeks now, some of our senior political folks have been working with the Major Projects Office team out of Calgary, defining the project charter for Churchill Plus.
Kinew also teased that news about the port expansion could be coming on Sunday. The Prime Minister will be in Winnipeg for the Grey Cup. For years, scientists have been trying to solve a medical mystery: why rates of colorectal cancer are rising in young adults. But new research is pointing to a possible culprit: ultra-processed foods. Health reporter Lauren Pelly has the details.
It's fast, it's easy, but ultra-processed food might be a major health threat. A new study published Thursday in a major cancer journal looked at 30,000 women over 2 decades. It found a link between eating a high level of ultra-processed foods and developing colorectal polyps.
And these are the kinds of polyps that we believe are the main precursor lesion to the vast majority of early onset colorectal cancers. And these are the kinds.
The lead researcher says the finding offers a key clue to what's behind an alarming trend: the rise in young adults developing colorectal cancer.
We did expect that there might be some associations here, given that we are also seeing dramatic increases in our consumption of ultra-processed food.
It's a big category of foods that are both highly processed and full of preservatives. Items like mass-produced bread, many breakfast cereals, or instant soup.
So ultra-processed food is sort of that ready-to-eat, ready-to-heat type food.
This Toronto oncologist praised the new study and said these products have long been known as less healthy options.
They don't contain a lot of fiber. They have sort of the bad types of fats in them.
Still, this new finding isn't clear cause and effect. More research is needed to see where ultra-processed foods fit alongside other well-known cancer risk factors, like obesity and a lack of physical activity. Joshua Kluskovic hopes scientists figure it out. The 34-year-old doesn't know what caused his stage 4 colon cancer, which has spread to his liver, lungs, and bones.
You're trying to stay as positive as you can, just hoping for a miracle to happen.
After years of trying to lead a healthy lifestyle, he still has more questions than answers.
You think, what else could I have done? Why am I now getting this diagnosis?
Doctors and dietitians say one thing is clear: avoid ultra-processed foods as much as you can, and when possible, choose whole, fresh foods instead. Lauren Pelly, CBC News, Toronto.
A summer of record-breaking heat in Iran has caused an unprecedented drought. Conditions are so bad, rivers near the capital Tehran are running dry, and the city's 10 million residents may soon be left without running water. The CBC's Anna Cunningham reports.
The situation in Iran appears to be reaching a real crisis point. These dams that supply water from rivers directly to the capital Tehran. You can see just how low those water levels are. In some places, the dams are completely drying up. In Tehran, people have been getting water where they can and when they can, with warnings to stock up, save what they have, because the water pressure in Tehran is being switched to zero overnight, according to the energy minister.
The country is now in its 6th year of drought. So far it has been also much drier than usual. No rain happening across the whole country, and this is new to Iran.
Experts say that the drought is the result of the climate crisis, but the water shortage is not due to that alone. Critics point to a mismanagement in water supplies in Iran that they say has gone on for years, and also a lack of planning and preparation, as well as water being wasted. Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian has been speaking on state TV, and he's warned of water rationing, saying that if there is no rain by November the 22nd, then he says Tehran must be evacuated. Not everyone believes that it will come to that.
Those discussions of relocating the capital or evacuating Tehran are unfortunately slogans that can be misleading and even create a lot of fear and stress for the public who are already very confused about what they need to do.
Right now, rain is desperately needed, but for now, it's not on the forecast. Anna Cunningham, CBC News, London.
A sad discovery on a Prince Edward Island shore is now the center of scientific research. The CBC's Laura Meter looks at what researchers are hoping to learn from a great white shark. And a warning, viewers may find some images graphic.
The great white shark was first seen alive by people, but the next day it was found dead on a sandbar in the Tracadie area. It was a huge animal, 4 meters long and a bit more than 2,000 pounds.
The shark was phenomenal. It was, any animal that size that you don't regularly get to see is just, more than impressive. So, it's my first time seeing a great white in person. So that was clearly a remarkable day there.
This wildlife vet worked with a group to get it out of the water and bring it to the Atlantic Veterinary College to be analyzed.
He had just had a very large meal of gray seal and harbor porpoise. So he was eating and doing quite well right up until he died.
This pathologist says it will take a while to look at tissues to figure out what caused the shark to die. There was no evidence of trauma or it being entangled.
You want to make sure, especially if it's an endangered species, like we consider the white shark to be in Canada, you want to make sure that there aren't any new threats, emerging threats, or potentially human-caused issues that are putting pressure on that species.
Although some people might find the pictures scary, researchers say these sharks have been in PEI waters for years and their numbers are improving.
Sightings are increasing, and they have been increasing, and that's because these sharks great whites are visiting our waters of Atlantic Canada more frequently than they had historically. It's kind of special. Not many places in the world can say they have great whites swimming around.
The shark was hauled to the vet college in an open trailer on Halloween. Vets say some people likely thought it was a weird decoration.
Yeah, we did not have a tarp big enough to put over it, so we basically hauled a giant shark on the back of a flatbed trailer essentially through downtown Charlottetown. You don't see that every day.
Researchers say getting to see this shark and investigate its death is a unique experience. They hope to have more answers in the months to come. Laura Meter, CBC News, Charlottetown.
From a big game to the big screen, there's still no consensus over artificial intelligence in film. But some Hollywood heavyweights are cashing in. Actor Michael Caine has just inked a deal with an AI company to license his voice. And the end result sounds like this.
My name is Michael Caine. You know, I've played many roles in my life, both on and off the screen. But now, I've got a question for you. What makes a voice iconic?
Caine isn't alone in showing support for generative content, but there's also a chorus of voices calling the tech a bridge too far.
And now through the power of
A tour around the world, all to learn how to make the perfect bagel. More on one family's quest as they get set to open up shop. That's ahead. They hear the horrors from survivors of sexual assaults, the people who come forward with the trauma and the difficult moments hoping for charges, convictions, and justice. CBC producer Donna Carrero has been taking a look at how the courts handle these cases. Crown attorneys say it's not a matter of believing what happened, but too often knowing the evidence just isn't there. And a warning, this may affect those who have experienced sexual violence.
Tell me about the challenges or what people don't understand about the burden of proof in particularly in these kind of cases.
For a conviction to be entered, the Crown must prove the offense beyond a reasonable doubt. So that's obviously a very high standard. So I think that's an important starting point to understand that the challenges, because it isn't about, do I believe the survivor? Rare is the day that I hear a story of somebody's trauma and they're interacting with what they have carried for years sometimes, or moments sometimes. And I'm not hearing these stories and saying, I don't believe this. But that's unfortunately not the legal test. With sexual violence cases, these are cases that often happen behind closed doors in private settings, and there's not necessarily other witnesses to the event.
But assault survivors don't necessarily feel like they're the ones having to prove this happened to me. I was attacked, I was beaten up. Because it's obvious, I guess.
There might be other evidence that we can point to. So the police who attend the scene and right after it happens and see, a phone pulled out of the wall or something like that, that is helpful in assessing the other evidence. We don't often see that in sexual assaults because as we've learned in society, the trauma that comes from being a survivor of sexual assaults plays out differently in each individual, and they will choose to report at different times.
Part of our task is to make sure that survivors feel ready for that process.
And I think that's a common misconception in society, is that a Crown attorney is the survivor's lawyer, and we're not the survivor's lawyer. We often have the same interests in terms of we believe that there is a reasonable likelihood of conviction. We believe that a sexual assault has happened. We believe we have evidence to put before the court to establish that and to make those arguments.
So the definition of consent.
Yes.
Because you both, immediately when I said the definition of consent, you both
yes.
That's an issue. What is it? What is it that people don't get about that definition?
At the heart of it, one of the things that the Crown has to prove in a sexual assault is that there's a lack of consent, that the complainant did not consent. So what does that mean? Is the complainant able to understand the physical act that they're going to be engaging in? That act is sexual in nature, the specific identity of the individual that they're going to be engaging in that act with, and that they have a choice, and that choice is that they can participate or refuse. And this becomes important.
If there's one thing that I wish I could say to survivors is that it isn't about not believing. We believe you. That it's just doesn't equate with what is required to satisfy a burden of proof. And that is never a satisfactory answer, for somebody that has experienced intense trauma. Yeah. It just isn't, and I won't pretend it is.
The other issue of it is that survivors have talked about, they were asked, so at any point did you say no? And one survivor put it to me, I don't know if I didn't say no, but I never said yes, and I was terrified.
So in what you've described, I'm taken in a car, I can't get out of this car, I'm Indigenous, I'm taken to the perimeter, and I don't say yes and I don't say no, but I'm fearful, then the Crown is going to do its best effort to lead that evidence and to argue if there was any consent, it was vitiated because she was afraid. And it can make it really difficult to argue these cases. In a jury trial where you have to give instructions, legal instructions to a jury about how they're going to make these decisions.
When I think about, what would I say to a person a survivor that felt like their voice is not heard, even if their story is not told in a courtroom, their story matters.
Thank you so very much, both of you.
Thank you so much for having us and allowing us to participate in this important conversation.
All right, Riley, back in now. And Riley, it's hard to believe that it is November 13th, given the conditions that we're seeing outside and the double-digit temperatures we're expecting tomorrow.
I know. Tomorrow will certainly feel more like September, I think, to many of us, especially here in southern Manitoba. Like I said earlier, totally different story for northern Manitoba through the day tomorrow. I'll get into that. We'll go into a little bit more detail on that snow that we're expecting in parts of the north. But in the south, you know what? Enjoy the long dog walk tomorrow, because we are looking at a banner day. I mean, maybe a bit breezy at times, but certainly looking at a pretty nice day as we get through the day on Friday. Diesel and Diva certainly, I think, will enjoy the temperatures tomorrow. Both rescues, thank you, Julie, for sending this picture in, and both, and I'm sure the people as well, enjoying their best lives. You can send your pictures to talkback@cbc.ca. So we'll get a bit of cloud cover building as we get through the day tomorrow. And as that cold front starts to push through in the afternoon, you'll know that's happened when you see that switch in wind from a more southerly flow tomorrow back to a westerly to northwesterly flow, which I think should happen sometime in the afternoon tomorrow. And from there, temperatures will fall closer to the freezing mark as we get through the overnight hours. So right now in Winnipeg, at least, looking at 2 degrees and east wind at 11. You can see some of the lights down there from the party that's happening down on the lawn at the U of W for the Grey Cup festivities. It's one of many things happening in the city over the next few days for the big game, of course. Across the rest of the province, Melita at 6, Brandon's at 1. And you can really see where the ridge in the jet stream really sits right now, where you see that contrast in temperatures, -6 in Thompson, +3 in Swan River. So that ridge kind of sits about here across northern Manitoba. As we get through the night tonight, you'll really notice a difference in temperatures as we get through the night. So across the south, mostly sunny or mostly clear skies. A bit of cloud cover starts to roll in. Temperatures close to freezing through the overnight hours. But in northern Manitoba, I've overlaid some of the accumulating snow that will push through as we get through the night tonight. And with that warm front that pushes through, again, that chance really from Flin Flon over through Thompson and Norway House of seeing some freezing rain through the overnight hours. And your temperatures actually rising up to close to or just above the freezing mark as we get through the overnight hours tonight. Another 10 centimeters coming for far northern parts of the province as we get through the day tomorrow. And along the Hudson Bay coast, this is 10 centimeters or so as we get through the day. And then in behind that, a bit of clearing. So I'm thinking by the afternoon, we're into some sunny breaks for Flin Flon, the Pas, into OCN, 6 degrees in Grand Rapids under a mix of sun and clouds. For the south, mostly sunny skies. I mean, maybe a couple of stray showers as that cold front pushes through Brittany into the afternoon hours, and temperatures in the double digits tomorrow afternoon.
All right. Thank you, Riley.
You're welcome.
Well, how far would you go to perfect a recipe? Pretty far, it turns out, for a Winnipeg father-daughter duo. They traveled the world to learn about traditional bagel making, and now they're sharing all those lessons with the rest of Winnipeg. CBC's Sophia Peralta-Barone reports.
My name is Glenn Dimitrioff. I'm the co-owner with my daughter of the Forge Bagel Company. Opening day is on November 15th, and we are very excited. Baking has been always a stress release for me, but it's always been this fascination but distraction from everyday life and pressure. But there was something about this particular bagel style that I was starting to make that was just different.
So our bagels float on impact because they're pre-proofed. Most bagels will sink.
My grandmother was born in Poland. We said, this is where it all started. And if we're going to go someplace in this world, we're going to go to the place where it started. And that's why we went to Poland. So countries we went to Poland, we went to the UK, we went to the US obviously, but New York and LA, and in Canada, Montreal, Toronto.
Still isn't really stretchy.
The Polish trip probably was the most eye-opening for us in a way that we realized that the traditional Polish method of making a bagel, which was called a poke and stretch, which you have a ball of dough, you poke a finger in it and you stretch it. It becomes incredibly soft and chewy. So you get this lovely, bite through it. Everyone's rope style in it, which is fine. They make great bagels. But is there a place for an artisan style which goes back to the original roots of how bagels are made? And can we make that texture, and will people appreciate it now? Our bagel was inspired by 2 places. One in Poland, which is the poke and stretch method, and then the UK, which is inclusion-based. Inclusions are ingredients that you put into the dough. We have lemon poppy seed. We have a strawberry shortcake. We have a double blueberry. There's a lot of new things that we had to learn, and Rochelle, who's really the project person behind the operation here, she really helped keep this project going and allowed us to actually open.
Poke it in the middle.
Make sure you do it right. Touch your well.
I think we complement each other really well. I call him the bagel alchemist. He experiments in the kitchen all the time, and he can do his crafting and his artisan baking. But I just try and keep everything else going.
It's very uplifting for me personally because it brings back my grandmother. It brings back all the things that I heard about from my grandmother when she was growing up in Poland early years. The fact that I was able to do this with my daughter, that really is the winning recipe for me.
Well, you can call it a bus heist or an audition for a job, but how a man took control of a bendy bus and thankfully returned it without a scratch. That story after the break. This is Manitoba. And this is Manitoba on your smart TV, because CBC News is now streaming local. Local news and weather on your connected TV or favorite device. CBC News Manitoba, streaming now. Adele is set to make her acting debut in Tom Ford's upcoming film, Cry to Heaven. The period drama is based on Anne Rice's novel set in 18th century Italy, and production begins early next year. Cry to Heaven is due out in the fall of 2026.
All right, big weekend coming up. Not only is it the Santa Claus Parade, but of course the Grey Cup and all the festivities that come along with it. Thought I'd spend a bit of time talking about the forecast again tonight. Still not much change from where we were at this time yesterday in terms of what we're looking at for Saturday and Sunday. So for the Santa Claus Parade, downtown Winnipeg, looking at temperature around 1 degree. A bit on the breezy side, though, as that low pushes through tomorrow. On the backside of that, some gusty northwesterly winds. And then for the Grey Cup on Sunday, looking at a partly cloudy sky, -1 in Winnipeg by game time, and dropping closer to or just below the freezing mark or so by the time we get into the evening hours. So keep that in mind if you've got plans. Maybe you're heading out somewhere that we could be in for somewhat chilly conditions, although still above seasonal for this time of the year. Looking at a high of 11 degrees tomorrow. The record high for this day, for Friday, November 14th, would be close to 15 degrees. So a little ways off from there. Temperatures dropping closer to the freezing mark by Monday. Some cloud starts to build in Tuesday, Wednesday, and a chance we could see some flurries by next Thursday. Well, a funny thing happened on the way home from work Tuesday night for some public transit users in Hamilton, Ontario.
A bus driver got off for a break, and a new driver got on and pulled away. A man police are now describing as a 36-year-old of no fixed address.
But it turns out he did a great job.
He didn't follow the scheduled route, but he was making the scheduled stops. Well, there was not a ding on the bus.
Okay, it's no easy feat. The bus was one of these with an accordion joint connecting two different sections.
The man paid attention to detail too, demanding one passenger with an expired pass pay the fare. Police managed to end the unscheduled ride after 15 minutes without incident.
You know what? That's no easy task. Those are not easy to drive.
No, I don't know if I would be able to drive a bendy bus like that if my life depended on it without running something over first.
Maybe a job audition.
Maybe, just maybe.
Have a great night. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
Good night.
That would be really hard.
It would be.